Hey guys, this is Austin, and today it's time for the best of CES. First, we have the Royal Flex Pi. This is the first commercially available foldable smartphone. So you actually can buy one of these right now, and the entire thing is built around a super thin OLED panel. So the actual display itself is a 7.8-inch OLED with a 1920 by 1440 resolution. It's not exactly the sharpest or crispiest thing in the world, but considering that it is a flexible phone, I can give it just a little bit of props there for, actually working. Even though the display is so thin, it actually feels reasonably sturdy. A big part of that is that the hinge actually does have a lot of strength to it, and on top of that it does have magnets, so when you close up the phone, it does stay flat. Now it does actually kind of fit in a pocket, although just like the Surface Book, it doesn't actually go completely flat. You do have a little bit of a book shape. What's cool about this is actually on sale right now. Now at $1,300, probably not a lot of people are on board, but it is really cool to see something like this, which even though it's in a little bit of a rough state right now, it's actually coming out. I feel like this in a couple years is going to be super cool.
This or red hydrogen?
Red hydrogen.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. Look, it's cool. The main issue is that it doesn't quite have that level of polish, right? The hardware is decent, but especially the software has a lot of bugs, and of course it's an early unit, but this is something that's shipping right now. It tries to detect sort of like, if I'm using it from one side or the other, but in my experience it just wasn't particularly smooth or worked well. Next up is the Honor View 20. Now this bypasses the standard notch of 2018 for what is known as a hole punch display. The front-facing camera is literally right in the middle of the screen, or well, I guess in the corner of the screen. Personally, I don't really mind notches all that much unless it's something like the Pixel 3 XL, but I will say that something like the OnePlus 6T is probably closer to what a lot of people will appreciate. Now this does have a little bit of a cutout, which means that stuff like the status bar does come down a little bit, so in reality it's actually not a huge difference than having a notch, but you still get to get rid of the bezels, and as far as like watching video content, it's not quite as much of an obstruction. There is a lot more going for the View 20 than just the display though. First of all, it has a really cool laser etched finish on the back, which I personally think looks cool, and on top of that it has some serious specs. Around back you have a 48 megapixel camera, and that is augmented by a 24 megapixel camera up front. That, my friends, is a lot of pixels. So if it is in the same $500 price range as its predecessor, you're getting a lot here. 4,000 milliamp hour battery, you got that Kirin 980, and the headphone jack. Now when you talk about CES, especially this year, there are so many displays. So first of all, we took a look at some of the stuff that LG has cooking up. So not only do they have a fully rollable OLED, so when you're not using it, it can just disappear. And on top of that, they have a killer looking 88-inch 8K OLED. What's also impressive is the Samsung QLED 8K. So 8K is actually a little bit of a buzzy thing this year at CES. There's quite a few TVs around, but the Samsung one is seriously impressive. It is a massive 98 inches. Even if you look past the size, what you're getting is such a bright and clear picture. The dynamic range, and especially some of the really bright areas, was super impressive. I've got to say, I've seen a lot of cool TVs here at CES, but some of these 8K units from both LG as well as Samsung are way better than I expected. Last year, Samsung showed off the Wall, their first foray into micro LED, but this year it's pretty much ready for prime time. All it is a series of panels that you can put together, and what's really nice about this is it does give you a lot of flexibility. So yes, it's not quite as nice looking as something like that 8K QLED, but especially when you have a giant display of them, it looks really impressive. Now if you haven't had enough of 8K yet, well how about a camera to shoot it that doesn't cost $50,000? Well, that's what Sharp has. So this is a mirrorless camera that has a micro four thirds sensor, definitely a little bit on the small side. But the idea here is that for less than $5,000, you have a consumer-ish camera that can shoot that full 8K video. Now, Sharp says that we'll be able to do this onto an SD card, so if you want to light your SD card on fire with 8K footage, I guess that'll be nice. But the important thing about this is that it is still slightly a concept. They will be showing a more final version a little bit later in the year, but this is something that should be on sale this year. My main concern though is that because it has that micro four thirds sensor, what kind of lenses are you going to be able to put on it that will be able to resolve full 8K detail? I mean, that's something like well north of 30 megapixels, and that's a lot, that's Sharp. So, oh, I said Sharp. Oh, sorry. Next up, NVIDIA has the BFGD Omen Imperium X 65. It stands for big format. Okay? It stands for big format gaming display. Get your minds out of the gutter. Now, when you're talking about specs, this thing has it all. 65-inch HDR display, it's a full 4K, it runs at 144 Hertz, it has G-Sync, and it costs $5,000. So it's a cool idea. Is essentially this is a giant gaming TV, which is a little bit more on the monitor side. It does have an NVIDIA Shield built in, but I mean, if you really want the ultimate gaming display, this is probably it. Or you can buy a car. Coming back down to earth, we have the Samsung Space Monitor. Now there are two sizes, a 27-inch 1440p as well as a 32-inch 4K. What's really cool about these is not necessarily the displays, but the stands. So what's cool about it is that it's super flexible. You can drop it all the way down, you can pull it forward, you can push it back. There's a lot of flexibility here, which is nice to see. Monitors have been kind of boring lately. The Space Monitor is actually available on Amazon right now for pre-order. I'll have a link in the description. But what is not available just yet is the Razer Raptor. Now we did cover this in our Razer video, but essentially to catch you up, this is a 27-inch 1440p high refresh rate, FreeSync display with a really cool stand and some interesting functions, but it's also $700, so yeah. LG also had a brand new ultrawide monitor with a massive 49-inch size. Now the name of it is the LG 49WL95C 49-inch ultrawide monitor. What's cool about this though is it is not only a giant screen, but importantly it's basically a pair of 2560 by 1440p monitors stuck together. So with a 5K by 1440 resolution, this is going to be awesome for gaming. It's not going to be out just quite yet, but you better believe I'm going to get my hands on one to take a video of. NVIDIA took CES as a great opportunity to finally announce RTX for laptops. So there are a few options right now. There's RTX 2080, 2070, as well as 2060, as well as the various Max-Q implementations. And there are a ton of laptops that are updated at the show. If it's time for you to maybe consider upgrading a gaming laptop, this is probably a really good time to do so. There are way too many designs for me to go over in one video, but some of my highlights were definitely the Razer Blade, which can go all the way up to a 2080 Max-Q. Also, side note, the Razer Blade is getting a full 240Hz display option soon, as well as a 4K OLED touchscreen. I'm excited about that. But on top of that, ASUS showed off the ridiculous ROG Mothership Concept. Now I say concept, but this is actually something that will be shipping very shortly in the next few months. What you're getting here is essentially the ultimate gaming grade Surface Pro. So it has a kickstand, it has a keyboard which pops out and is detachable, but inside it has the specs of the most ridiculous over-the-top gaming laptop you can imagine. There's a lot more graphics action than that though. So on top of the RTX 2060, which is finally on sale, $350 is a little bit expensive, but it is roughly equivalent to something like a 1070 Ti. And on top of that, AMD surprised everyone with the announcement of Radeon 7. Now this is essentially an upgraded version of the current Vega architecture on a 7nm process, and at $700, it is meant to go head-to-head with that RTX 2080. So we'll see exactly how it performs when it comes out early next month, but it is really cool to see all of this momentum. You know, it's a little bit of a honestly boring year last year for the most part, but it's nice to see all of these different graphics cards and all these different options showing up in the market. It is a good thing for everyone. Third generation Ryzen also made an appearance, so it brings a lot of power into a 7nm process. It should be roughly equivalent to a Core i9 with less power, which is exciting. And on top of that, Digital Storm had one of the smallest gaming computers I have ever seen. I mean, I guess there's like laptops and stuff, but oh, hi.
What's up? Is that you?
That is definitely me.
This guy's a legend right here. Keep going what you're doing.
Excellent. Thank you.